I want to talk for a minute about the differences between brushes and brush sizes. So the bigger the brush, the straighter your hair is going to be, and the smaller the brush, the curlier and more voluminous your hair is going to be. Also, a difference between boar bristles and metal bristles. They're definitely better for fine textures, especially if you have very delicate hair, if your hair has been chemically processed, or if it's just very fine in general and prone to breakage. This is a great option for you. For myself personally, because I have so much frizz, I prefer a metal bristle brush with a metal barrel, because when you put heat on the barrel, it's going to heat up and it'll sort of act like a curling iron and straightener at the same time. So that's what's going to give you that nice polished effect if you have hair like mine, which is very fine, very curly, very frizzy, but I also have a lot of hair. So the first step is to shampoo your hair thoroughly. Make sure there's no grease or dirt or debris in your hair, and then condition it, and make sure conditioning from your ends all the way up to the mid shaft. And because I live in Florida and it's so humid here, I can't put conditioner on my roots or my hair is just going to be greasy the next day. So I keep it off of my roots, off of my bangs, just because it is so hot and humid here. So the next step, I like to use this Miracle leave-in product. It's a 10. This is very popular, but it does great because my hair is very dry on the ends. If you have curly hair, it gets very dry, and it's just usually a more dry texture. So I'm gonna put a little bit of this in my hands. Make sure that you rub your hands together and distribute the product evenly on your hands, so then it will go onto your hair evenly. And then the next step is just to brush it out nice and straight. Make sure you get all the tangles out. Alright, now when it comes to blow drying your hair, this piece here is essential. You're not going to get a nice smooth clean blowout if you don't have this concentrator piece that clips onto the end of your blow dryer. But to start, it's not necessary. We're just gonna dry it probably to about maybe 75%, 80% dryness, starting at the roots. So that way, when you're trying to round brush your hair, you don't have to worry about blasting all the water out there. This step is gonna make your life so much easier. So normally, you have a few different heat options and control options, like power options. So I'm going to start on a medium heat at full power. Okay, that part is not very scientific at all. The next step is to section. You'll just need some clips. Any kind of clips will do. This part is going to save you a lot of headache. It's going to save you a lot of fighting with your hair, and it'll help you keep more control over your blowout. I'm going to use this Kenra blowout spray. This stuff is great because they call it an advanced dry thermal protectant. So it'll protect your hair from heat, it polishes it, makes it nice and shiny, and it helps your hair dry faster. So I'm just going to spritz a little bit of that on here. This is the part where the concentrator becomes crucial. If you don't have a concentrator for your blow dryer, get one, because your blowout just won't look the same without it. It helps to distribute the heat over your round brush a lot better than it would if you just had the regular blow dry nozzle. This is going to cause your hair to burn and it'll become frizzy. You want it to push your hair down and concentrate the air flow so it helps get that nice even polish. So now that I have my hair sectioned out and sprayed and prepped, I'm just going to divide it into 2 sections. And when I'm at home, I'm doing this on myself. I'm going to go ahead and put the hair on the brush first, because it's just easier. On medium heat and medium power. Or low power. So the key is to apply tension and heat. So you want to add tension to your hair to get it nice and straight and smooth, and then you hit it with the heat. It heats up your brush and it polishes your hair down when you blow the cuticle down. And after you get it dry, keep it on your brush, because once it cools down, you'll have a nice bouncy section of hair. Every piece of hair, the top layer is covered in a layer of cuticle. Now what that means is it's kind of like shingles on a house. So this is what they teach us in hair school. It's like shingles on a house. If you run your finger down, it feels smooth, but if you run your finger up this way, it feels not smooth. And that's because the outside layer of your hair is basically like cuticle shingles, if you will, and that's what helps keep your hair nice and polished when it's blow dried or styled properly. So if you smooth out your cuticle, you're gonna have a nice smooth section of hair, but if you don't, then it's gonna be frizzy and messy and it'll look like this. So again, we're just gonna take your little section of hair, put it on your brush, go on low heat because it's easier to control. Apply tension and heat. And because my hair is already almost dry, all I have to worry about right now is smoothing it out. So I don't know if you could see the difference. It wasn't as smooth because I didn't leave the brush on my hair as long as before to allow it to cool down and set that shape. Versus when you do, look how shiny and smooth. Yay! Okay, next section. I'm gonna stop talking now.
Pour me a drink, a shot, a toast to us. Down my cup to fill it back up. Told myself I didn't need ya. Thinking we still had that real love. But for what? Forget about you in the morning. Until then I'll keep on pouring this cherry wine. Damn, I know I'm losing focus. Self-medicated hypnosis.
Now when I get to the front sections, I start to go backwards because I want to direct the hair away from my face. So if you pull it forward and start blow drying it back, you'll get that nice feathered look.
With the coldest stare, see right through me, strip me down, belly hanging.
And allow it to rest on the brush so it can cool down. The more tension, the harder you pull, the straighter your hair will be. Now I have lots of layers in my hair too, so that's kind of what helps give me that curl effect.
Myself, I didn't need ya. Thinking we still had that real love. But for what? Forget about you in the morning.
So again, just remember, blow the cuticle downwards because like a storm, a super windy storm, if the wind pushes your shingles up, your shingles are gonna be flared up and messed up, and it's the same thing with your cuticle on your hair. So you want to blow downwards to achieve that polished effect. So again, just redirecting the hair, pulling it forward this way and applying tension on my brush so I get that nice straight polished look. So don't waste your time round brushing your whole head of hair unless you sort of did like the monkey dry, like rough blow dry kind of technique first, because it's honestly it's just a waste of time. The whole point of the round brush is to polish the hair. Now I'm at the top section And I'm gonna switch from my 400 brush to my 350. I'm gonna let this section down. This section of my hair is already pretty much dry. I'm just looking for the polished part of it now. So spritz it with your heat protectant. I can't stress this enough. The heat protectant is so important, especially if you're looking to grow your hair long and keep your hair nice and healthy. You have to use a heat protectant. I don't care what anyone says. You must use a heat protectant. Otherwise your hair is just gonna break. Now this is kind of like a U-shaped section. So I'm just gonna take the back bit out first. I just like to use my finger. So we're gonna blow dry this. I'm gonna put it to the side and then I'll clip this part up so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm gonna apply the hair to my brush. Tension and then heat, that's the key here. If you want volume, pull it up. If you don't want volume, blow it down. Pull it up if you want volume. If you're like me, you like big hair. The bigger the better. Now if you feel like your hair is falling off of your brush, stop. Turn your blow dryer off. Brush it upwards again. Get that hair on your brush. Look how much my highlights have grown out. Can you tell we've been in quarantine for a freaking all of year? I normally wear my hair in a middle part, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give myself a middle part. If you're at the salon, the stylist will just be like whizzing around and blow drying your hair like crazy, but at home, grab your brush, put your hair on your brush, and then blow dry on low heat. And if your arm gets tired, stop for a minute and relax. Now I'm gonna flip it this way so I get that nice feathered effect. Now once your hair is dry, keep it on the brush because it's gonna cool down on your brush and it'll basically act like a roller. Like if you were to use those old-fashioned Velcro rollers, this is what that's doing. So now we have a nice voluminous curl to your hair. I'm gonna do this side now. It's pretty much dry. I mean, can you see that? It's already pretty much dry. I'm just smoothing it out now. Now the smaller your brush, the more curly your hair will be. So if you want a nice straight section, use a bigger brush. Use a bigger one like this. But if you have super long hair, you can use a really big one like this. Look, it's almost as big as my head. But I have lots of layers and I like a lot of volume, so I use a small brush. So I can look like the sister from that 70s show. The 70s are back, okay? The 60s and 70s are back. I'm wearing bell bottoms as we speak. Let me show you what it will look like with the bigger brush. You want to apply tension. Tension is key, people. It's key. Tension, then heat. Tension, then heat. Tension, then heat. And you really don't need a lot of heat. You can get away with not getting much heat damage at all by doing it this way. If you can put enough tension on your hair where you can get it nice and straight, you won't ever have to use a straightener or a curling iron ever again. So can you see the difference? I got a lot more lift, a lot more bounce with this 350 versus the 400. And I mean, look at the size difference in these brushes. One tip I'm gonna give you, the more volume you want, lift your hair higher. So if you want a lot of volume, blow dry it straight up. If you don't want a lot of volume, blow dry it down. This has been a struggle. This whole year has been a struggle, I think, for everyone. But we're here, we're doing it, and even in the face of adversity, we can prosper. And we can do it. We are doing it. Look at us. Here we are. So cool. That's what I got for you. Life isn't always easy. And it's especially a little bit easier when you have nice hair.